In the last video, we learned the definitions of personal, reflexive intensive, and indefinite pronouns. This video is going to focus on problems that can occur when using these types of pronouns. So the first type of problem that can occur is disagreement in number or gender with the antecedent. Pronouns must match their antecedents in number, person, and gender. Look at this unclear sentence. When a student travels to Hogwarts, they must do so by train. The antecedent for they should be students, plural. So we've taken a singular word here, student, and tried to match it with a plural pronoun. When a student travels to Hogwarts, he or she must do so by train. Note, many people find the construction his or her wordy, so if possible, change the antecedent to a plural noun and use the pronoun they. If you use a singular noun and the context makes the gender clear, then just use his or her rather than his or her. When working with a compound subject, if the antecedents are joined with the conjunction and, use a plural pronoun. Harry and Ron brought their books to class. If they are joined by or nor, use a pronoun that matches the last noun. Neither Harry nor Ron brought his book to class. Certain indefinite pronouns are always singular and require a singular pronoun. Everyone should do his or her best on the owls. Everyone is a singular indefinite pronoun. Even though it appears that it's talking about a group of people, it is still discussing them individually, so it needs to have a singular pronoun, personal pronoun, matched with it. Neither of the girls brought her broomstick. Same thing. Neither is singular. So even though girls is plural, neither is actually the subject of the sentence, and it should be matched with a singular pronoun. Someone left his cloak in the library. Someone left his cloak in the library. Here, someone is singular, and we've chosen his. We could have chosen her as well. Sometimes it's best to just pick one. If you are writing in the first person, using I, don't confuse your reader by switching to the second person, you, or third person, he, she, they, it, etc. Let's look at this unclear sentence. When a person comes to spells class, you should have your homework ready. Here we switched from the third person to the second person in the same sentence. When a person comes to spells class, he or she should have his or her homework ready. In this case, I would recommend chopping that down to he and his, or she and her. Problem 2, pronoun and verb disagreement. Singular and plural pronouns must be paired with the correct verb forms. Incorrect. I planted the seeds and watered it carefully. The antecedent for it should be seed. We have to fix the pronoun to match the antecedent. I planted the seeds and watered them carefully. The same goes when using an indefinite pronoun. It would be incorrect to say, everyone must measure their height, because everyone is singular. The correct version would be, everyone must measure his height, or her, if you prefer. When using an indefinite pronoun that can be both singular and plural, base your verb choice on the context of the sentence. Incorrect. Most of the soup were gone. Well, obviously, that one just sounds funky. Most here can be singular or plural, but we know when we're talking about a bowl of soup that it's a singular thing, so it needs a singular verb. Most of the soup was gone. All of the cheese have been eaten. Same thing here. All can be a plural indefinite pronoun, but here, because of the word cheese, we know that it's acting as a singular and needs a singular verb. All of the cheese has been eaten. Problem 3, pronoun and collective noun disagreement. Remember, collective nouns name groups. When replacing a collective noun with a pronoun, base your verb choice on the context of the sentence. For example, if the collective noun is acting as a unit, use the singular pronoun. Incorrect. The band picked up its instruments and began to play. We can infer that the band each have their own instruments. Each band member has his or her own instrument. So they're not picking up its instruments. The band picked up their instruments. Incorrect. The committee discussed their goal for the year. Here, the committee is working as a group and has one goal together. So the correct version would be, the committee discussed its goal for the year. Problem 4, unclear, weak, or vague reference. Confusion occurs when pronouns appear to have more than one antecedent. Unclear. Ron told Harry that he was late for the party. So here, Ron and Harry are both male, so we're unsure who he is. Most of the time, you have to rewrite the sentence. I'm late for the party, Harry told Ron. Unclear. Although the car hit the tree, it was not damaged. Here we have two objects, the car and the tree. It is unclear which one was not damaged. Although the car hit the tree, the vehicle was not damaged. Sometimes pronouns have unclear antecedents. In these cases, it is sometimes best to just rewrite the sentence. I don't think they should show violence on TV. Well, the question here is, who is they? A better version would be, violence should not be shown on TV. Unclear. As President of the United States, you are guarded carefully. Well, unless I'm talking directly to the President of the United States, you is not the correct pronoun to use there. A correct version would be, the President of the United States is guarded carefully. Unclear. I did my math homework. Some of them were hard. Here, the reader has to take a cognitive leap that we shouldn't have to take and infer that them means math problems. It would be best to just insert the specifics. I did my math homework. Some of the problems were hard. The last problem is probably the most difficult to deal with, and we will spend considerable class time practicing with it. Sometimes people use the wrong pronoun case. Remember from our last video that the pronoun cases are subject, object, and possessive, and they each have their own separate functions in a sentence. Let's start with subject pronouns. Subject pronouns, and I have them listed here, must be used in the subject position and after linking verbs, such as is, are, was, and were. The first sentence says, we are heading to the beach. Here, we are the subject of the sentence. We are the ones doing something. So we need to use we. We would not say, us are heading to the beach. In the next sentence, we use a linking verb. The captain of the team is she. Now this may sound awkward to you. It may feel more natural to say the captain of the team is her, but the correct form is actually she, because after a linking verb, you use the subject pronoun. The same rules apply when you have a compound subject. My sister and I have the same color eyes. It would be incorrect to say my sister and me, because me is an object pronoun. Another way to think about this is to pretend that the other part of the compound subject isn't there. We would never say, me have the same color eyes, but we would say, I have the same color eyes. So that's a good way to check when you have a compound subject. Object pronouns, on the other hand, are used after verbs as direct and indirect objects. For right now, it's best to just think about them being used after verbs. They are also used as objects of a preposition. Sentence 1. My mom dropped us off at the game. Mom is the subject, dropped is the verb, and us, we are receiving that verb. So, because the pronoun comes directly after the verb, we need to use the object form. We would never say, my mom dropped we off at the game. Sentence 2. Will you lend me your curling iron? Same thing. Here we need to use the object pronoun, me. We would never use the subject pronoun I in this sentence. Try to remember that when it directly follows a verb, you're going to use the object pronoun. The last sentence gives you an example of when a pronoun follows a preposition and becomes the object of the preposition. Between you and me, I don't think this is a good idea. Between is a preposition. Just a quick little review. Remember, prepositions are words that explain where in space and time nouns are. So we think about, I know other teachers in the past have used like, where's the squirrel in relation to the tree? Is it on the tree, in the tree, under the tree, around the tree? So it gives those directional instructions. So here our preposition is between. And since the pronoun follows that preposition, we need to use the object pronoun. We would never say between you and I. Possessive pronouns are used to show ownership of an item or an action. The notebook that you found at school is mine. Our only chance to see the movie is Friday. Let's look at this third sentence. It says, his singing was terrible. Here, singing is actually the subject of the sentence, even though it looks like a verb. What you're saying is that activity was terrible. And that activity, singing, it was his singing. It belongs to him. So his singing was terrible. A quick note I want you to make is that you never use an apostrophe with a possessive pronoun. And another thing that I'd like you to write down that I failed to put on this slide is that a possessive pronoun will never be the subject of a sentence. These are just some common problems with using personal and indefinite pronouns, and we will continue to practice them over the next few days.